AITA for telling my husband that his affair child is not welcome in our home, and if he wants custody, he will have to move out. My husband and I have been married for 9 years. In 2021, we found out my husband was being sued for child support. Turns out my husband had an affair shortly after we were married. It nearly ended our marriage, but we went to counseling together and I agreed to stay in the marriage with the following provisions. My husband was to get a second job so that his child support payments did not affect our household budget, and that at no point in time would I ever consider having a relationship with this child. If he wanted to pursue one with them, fine, but I have absolutely zero interest in this kid. So my husband has been getting to know his kid over the past couple years, and recently my husband came to me and informed me that there was some sort of baby mama drama. Apparently, she has to self-surrender in May and is going to be incarcerated for 8 months. My husband told me that he needed to take custody while his affair partner is locked up. Otherwise, the kid would have to go to their grandparents who basically live on the opposite coast from us. Their kid doesn't want to have to change schools or be so far away from their friends, dad and mom. She will be doing her time fairly local to us. So, after my husband told me that, I got up and left the house. I went to the grocery store on the corner and grabbed a copy of our area's apartment guide, went back home and handed it to him. He asked if I were serious. I told him I still felt the same way as I did 3 years ago. He said he didn't think that was fair considering the extenuating circumstances. I told him I don't care about the circumstances. His kid is not welcome in my home. If he wanted to take custody, I will grant him an amicable divorce, but I am not changing my mind. I am not taking care of some other chick's kid. Edit. For all the people concerned about what a whip cracker I am in making my poor husband work 2 jobs. He has never had a full-time job since we have been together. He works 2 part-time retail jobs now that add up to 40 to 50 hours a week. He currently only has supervised visitation with his kid. They see each other once or twice a month for a couple hours with a social worker present. And for those who seem to think that I need to be the one to file for divorce, no, I will not. I am not the one who created this situation. If my husband wants to pursue custody, I have told him I will not fight it. I will grant him an amicable divorce and let him be on his way. However, I am not going to waste my own time, energy, and money to do so. He is responsible for getting his own ducks in a row for the situation he created. That includes being the one to go through the headache of filing. Date. We discussed divorce. We discussed temporarily separating. We discussed a lot. We sat down and had a pretty big financial talk. He is not involved in our financial planning. I showed him the numbers he realistically had to work with. I told my husband the truth, that while I love him, I won't lose sleep if we divorce. He has to do what's right for his own happiness and his kid. My husband had a bit of a breakdown over that. There was a lot of crying and him telling me that he loved me and didn't want to lose me. I broke down myself. We had a real good cry together. He asked if we could go back to our marriage counselor. So, I made an appointment. We went. We discussed the same things above, but with a counselor present. It basically boils down to my husband being very overwhelmed and conflicted about everything. He confessed he didn't really want to be an active parent but feels like he is supposed to. There's some deep stuff in there about his own family and race tied into that. So complicated emotions. He is terrified of losing me. He wants to prioritize our marriage. Hearing me say that I wouldn't lose sleep over divorcing left him shook. Our counselor strongly suggested that my husband get into individual therapy and gave some referrals. My husband has not pursued that. It did become pretty obvious to my husband that he was not in a place mentally or financially where he could take full custody though. So the kid is now in Virginia with maternal grandparents. My husband was actually going to go and visit the kid for their birthday this weekend. I gifted my husband some of my airline miles to buy his plane ticket. I did his laundry last night while he was at work so he'd have clean stuff to pack. However, my husband dropped the ball on his trip. I had plans for this afternoon that I left early for so I wasn't home when he was supposed to get up and leave. He stayed up late playing video games last night and overslept. Ended up missing his flight and couldn't afford last-minute tickets on another. He's in a pissy mood and is playing Elder Scrolls now trying to get his mind off of it. I've got my sister and some friends coming over in a few for a salsa canning party in a bit, so I'm hoping he gets into a good groove with his game because I'm going to have so much margarita. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for listening to Hidden Thread Teller. See you in the next one.